Okay, I'm going to do a quick live here on the Tropics. I'm not going to be on here too long, but I just wanted to give an update on the tropical storm that's in the Gulf of Mexico right now. So let's get right to it. I'm not even going to bother trying to play a intro on this computer. So let's try to let's go right to it. Like I said, I'll be on later with the true crime stuff, but right now I'm just going to do a quick update on this to let people know what's going on here. All right, so we've been tracking this now for I don't know, 3 or 4 days at least. It came off the coast of Africa and just was encountering a lot of shear, a lot of dry air. But the forecast was for this to move once it got out of the Caribbean here to get over more favorable conditions to develop, and that's exactly what it's done. These systems, they don't once they are in the Atlantic, if they don't form by the time they get into the Caribbean here, they're pretty much not going to do much. But once they get out over into the Gulf, man, it's this water temperature here, the climate is much better for development here. So that's what's happening. That's what's happened. So here's the system right now. This is the water vapor, the middle level water vapor here, and I want to show a couple of features here. Um, uh, so you have a high pressure ridge here to the west, basically west coast of the Gulf of Mexico here. So this system here can't go this way. Um, you have a trough that's dropping down here in the center of the United States, basically taking up 2/3 of the United States here. And that's the direct steering current. Because these high pressures here, there's one here, and of course you have your Bermuda High over to the east of the storm, which is they act like stop signs. They can't go through the high pressure. So it's got to kind of go around these blockers here, and once it gets a you know almost like a jet here, it's going to come up and basically stay in the Gulf here um, for a little bit, and that's what's going to cause it to intensify because these waters here are nice and warm, and it has a little bit of shear here from this trough here, but not a lot. So this is probably more likely going to be a hurricane by the time it hits the panhandle here. But let's go back. I want to go back to this here. I wonder if I can get there. Yep. Okay, so very good. Very, very good. Hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. So I'm going to do. Wow. Hey, Dean, what's going on? Hey, I didn't know anybody was in there. Hey, honeybee. How are you? Hey, James Tate, what's going on? Curious Contrarian, what's going on? Um, hey, Curious Contrarian, Honeybee, what's going on, Honeybee? How are you? All right, so basically, this is I'm going to come on later, obviously, and do true crime, but right now I'm going to try to monkey around with this system here. This is basically the entire. Let me get out of here. Basically, the Atlantic basin here. Here's South America here. This is the Gulf of Mexico here. There's a couple of waves coming off the coast of Africa right now, but they're probably not going to do much here. But here's our system right in here. And if you see this trough here, which is draping down now across the country, you got High Ridge here, you got your Bermuda High here. So this storm is basically going to have to skirt these two systems here. High pressure goes clockwise here, and this low pressure system is going to go counterclockwise. So it's got to kind of go around these two systems here. And once this trough I mean, that's the thinking, anyways. The theory is this trough is going to kind of try to steer this back out over the Atlantic at some point. But let me see if I can move this a little. And like I said, I'm still on this piece of shit computer, so it's not, it's going to be what it's going to be. I can't really just I know. Yeah, I was going to come on this morning, but I was so damn tired after work. I uh, decided to just hit the sack, and then I got up and tried screwing around with the freaking riding lawnmower that's been giving me troubles the last couple of days. So I decided to come on and do this now. I hope Honeybee's doing well. It's always good to see Honeybee in here. Yeah, tornado season is it'll get better here a little bit. But this system here, I wouldn't be surprised up and down the eastern side of the system here. Uh, I don't think the tornado threat's going to be all that terrible because it's going to stay out over the Gulf a little bit more than they thought it was going to. There's always a potential on the dirty side of this to kick up some vortices here on the eastern side. But all right, so I want to get out of here. What am I doing here? So, anyways, there's a big picture of. Let me get to the water vapor here. I like the water vapor because the water vapor I can see it better. I can see the that all of the activity that's going on. So this is all the Saharan dust here, and it's starting to subside a little bit. It was really bad a couple weeks ago. It's basically just dry air. It lifts into this, so it becomes sometimes a problem for these systems. But these systems here, the low pressures that are spinning here, are not helping anything developing over here anyway. So, but this is the baby right now. There's going to be something that's going to try to form here too over the next few days and try to kind of cut across the Yucatan Peninsula. But this is the problem here, and you can see, it's a lot better organized than it was yesterday or the day before. You're really starting to see some outer bands form here. There's definitely a center of circulation right there. It's just departing Cuba right now, so it's really got nothing in its way here. It's going to continue to develop. So let's go to some warnings here. I'm going to try to get back to let's go back here. Actually, let's do this here. We'll see what the I should have done that first. So let's try to see if we can get like I said, I've been following these things forever. And ever since we've had some computer model stuff, I usually tend to lean more towards the European model because it's just a little bit more accurate. We're probably going to update here this pretty soon. So let's go here and see what's going to happen in the next 7 days or so. I'll try to rock this here. So this is just a forecast track of where the system's going to go. So you have high pressure here. The high pressure here is going to kind of abate a little bit to the west. And this is what the problem is going to be here is if this thing stalls at all here, if this trough doesn't pick this up and take it out to sea here, this could be a problem for a little while, especially in Georgia. And it seems to want to just kind of meander in here for a few days. That's probably not going to be a good thing. I want to go here. Let's see the ensemble here. So this is all of the models here, but this, more purple path here is kind of the consensus here. So, I don't see anything really trying to move this thing off to the coast here. It's an ever changing system. Once these storms get into the Gulf of Mexico, man, all bets are off. I've been following these things for a long time. Once they get over into the Gulf here, anything can happen. But I do want to go back here. I want to check out. So these are the water temperatures here, and these go down about a mile, I think. So they're not just at the surface. So if you see here, this is the daily. Here's your Gulf of Mexico, Florida here. This is Cuba here. So you can see these are just an environment for strengthening here. These waters are terribly warm. We get back over here. This is Africa here. When you get over here, I mean the Gulf of Mexico is just ripe right now for any type. These systems like that warm water, and this is doing itself a favor here by being warm enough. So as it goes in here, let's see. So this is the anomaly. So you go up one here, up two. It's above normal here for this time of the year. So, hey Heather Brown, how are you? Good to see you. Wolf spider. Wolf spiders are awesome. There's one right here. There's one right on the porch. Hey Dean, what's going on, buddy? Mosquitoes the mosquitoes are terrible here too. They're just absolutely. I went out and bought some. I don't know if anybody can see this cutter stuff, because this is the weather I kind of like here. It's been really humid. The dew points right now are like 73 here, so it's just absolutely nice and humidly warm. But it's going to really cool down this coming week here. It's going to get back into the 70s Thursday and Friday. Thanks to high pressure and all of that stuff. All right, so what I'm trying to do is get back to. Let's do this here. I know they had hurricane hunters out there today. I'll try to bring that up later on my live. The hurricane hunters, what they're finding inside. But there's definitely a center of circulation. That's why they labeled it a tropical storm. So let's go here to some. The Pacific is active too now. So right now it's a minimal tropical storm. It's 40 mile per hour. This was done at 8 o'clock, so this was an hour ago. This is the sixth advisory. Sustained winds at 35 knots, 40 miles per hour. So it's borderline tropical storm right now. Central pressure is down a little bit. 1,005. It was at 1,012 a little earlier today. And if you're flying at home, this is where it's located, 21.4.1 north, 83.3 west. So it's just below this parallel here. And it's moving at a pretty good clip, 14 miles an hour. I mean, that's about standard for these things. And let's see what we're going to do here. The cone. So they have this now. Earlier models were taking this thing a little bit closer to the Florida coast here, and then kind of heading into Tampa or around Tampa, and then heading out to sea. But like I said, once these things get into the Gulf, man, they seem to have a mind of their own. And this thing keeps pushing more west, more west, more west. And, obviously, the longer it stays over this open water here, the more chance it's going to have to develop. I don't think this thing's going to go complete badass on everybody, like rapid intensification, but the longer it stays open over this Gulf here, it could, it definitely could. But I think you're probably going to be right around Monday, 2 p.m. Monday, maybe a strong cat 1, cat 2 maybe. But the problem is once it gets into land here, it's just not going to really do a lot. It's just going to kind of stay in here. And this, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach area, Hilton Head, um, Georgia, even parts of the North Carolina coast. I mean, this if this system here just keeps turning and turning and turning, all this water is just going to inundate these areas here. So we'll have to take a look at that. But right now, here's your warnings, hurricane warnings, basically on the Big Bend. I think below that, you're pretty much out of it. Fort Myers, Clearwater. I think you're probably going to get some these out of bands, but as it lifts, you're probably going to be out of it. But on the eastern side of this, the dirty side, you're going to see tornado warnings all day, Monday into Tuesday, no doubt. All right, so again, we have these are the warnings here. Sorry, I'm currently center location 24.1. We said that already. Maximum sustained winds at 40 miles an hour. Gusts are probably around 45, maybe 50. All right, let's go back. I'm going to do this. This is the rainfall potential because this is going to be a soaker. I mean, this is just going to be a lot of water, especially if it stalls here in Savannah, Charleston, Jacksonville, even Wilmington. You're talking 12 to 16 inches of rain here. That's a lot. It's especially if it just stays here for a couple of days. I'm trying to catch up to the chat too. I think the tornado is more of a phenomenon than the hurricane. Tornadoes are almost like a freak of nature. You need a lot of things to come together to get a tornado. It's not like you're going to walk outside and see a tornado every day. But this is hurricane season. This has been going on since I can remember. And now that we have digital stuff, it's a lot easier to try to pinpoint where these things are going to go. But there's no exact science to this right now, especially when they get into the Gulf, because this is technically a basin. It's not really an ocean. So there's a lot of different types of things that can happen out here where they wouldn't. I mean, if these systems are over the Atlantic, we know the steering currents, we know the Bermuda High and all that stuff. But once they get into the Gulf, I keep telling people, same with Beryl. I said the same thing about Beryl. And Beryl was a strengthening storm too, and so isn't this one. This one's going to be almost the same path as Ian. I think it's going to kind of come up in here, and I think it was Ian. Was it Ian or was it? I forget now. All right, so let's go. So these are the areas, heavy rain here, but it's going to be on the east. Once this gets up into here, the water is going to really pour into, Hilton Head, Savannah. They're going to get drenched. It's going to be a really, really wet day. Put it that way. Storm surge. I don't think there's going to be a ton of storm surge. This is one of these systems where it could actually push water out, depending on where the center hits. But they've seen storm surge here before like this, so this is not a big deal here especially up around the Big Bend. I don't think it's going to be a really big deal with the storm surge, but let's see the legend here. But there is a warning, say from due north of Tampa all the way up to the Bend. And, technically on this side too, the Atlantic side, if it gets over into here, you You might see some surge here. Definitely high surf for sure. And let's go. Here's your here's a tornado threat here, marginal here. Let's see, no area 8-6. So marginal elevated Sunday, Monday marginal. Oh, that's the fire. Okay, elevated fire. So this is something new here. So this is I wouldn't doubt it if there's tornado warnings all up and down this eastern side of Florida, even up into Georgia. All right, let's go back. Peak surge. Let's try this here. So you're getting into 6 feet, 4 to 7 feet here. I think that's overkill right there. But you could, this thing could strengthen. It could, like I said, if it gets to 75, 90 miles per hour, I think this is going to be a borderline 1 or 2 once it hits here. So it's possible, but not sure. Yeah, I've been covering. Hey, buddy, Steve's here. Steve at True Crime Web is here. Hey, I have a question for you about. I'm going to send it to you about the phone coming on at 4. What was it? 4:30 in the morning. They're come on at 4:30 in the morning. Libby's phone. So I'm going to have to send that to you because I don't want to go into the graphics here. Steve's in the house. Steve's awesome. I just missed his live because I was preparing for this here. Like I said, I've been following these things for forever. Years ago, we used to have ham radios and maps all over the bed and longitude, latitude lines, and trying to CB radios, trying to figure out what's going on. And they didn't really have much of a clue. So, all right. So arrival of wind times here. Let's see here. Sunday, everything's going to start going downhill after Sunday afternoon around in here. But these outer bands are going to cause a problem all between now and probably Tuesday, especially up and down the Florida coast here. And like I said, this thing's not going to move much. Once it's just going to sit here for, I don't know, a couple of days. That's a problem because it could re-strengthen. If it does what I think it's going to do, it's going to come up in here, and this trough is going to try to move it out, but it's going to miss the trough by I don't know, 12, 24 hours, and it's going to just this high pressure here. The Bermuda high is going to just keep this kind of close to the coast, and then finally, once this Bermuda high lifts off more to the northeast, this will probably start, lifting. But you're talking Monday 8 a.m. to Tuesday 8 p.m. So that's 24 hours. It's just going to sit here. It's just going to sit here and do nothing. It's terrible. That's awful. It's going to just keep, just pouring water into these areas here, and it's, not good for the coastline here because it's, I mean, you can have a rainstorm here in the southern part of South Carolina here, and it flood the streets. So this is probably not going to be very good. But I'll keep an eye on this here. But it's going to basically go through. Here it is here. It's finally cleared Cuba here, so it doesn't have any land to prohibit it from doing anything. So it's just going to sit in the Gulf here by 2 a.m. Sunday, 8 p.m., 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and then just basically hit somewhere around the Big Bend. But don't put too much stock in that because it could still go a little bit more west here and come, it's like I said, once they get into the Gulf. Oh, you were in Camille? No. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the, I technically think they should just get rid of the Saffir-Simpson scale because people are just numbers people. It's just when you hear a 1 and then you hear a 5, people react a little bit differently between a 1 category 1 storm and a category 5 storm. And I'm not saying that a category 5 isn't stronger, because it is, but I've seen tropical storms do a ton of damage too. It's uh, plus everybody thinks wind, but more people die in hurricanes from water than they do wind. So I just wish they'd do away with the Saffir-Simpson scale and say it's a hurricane. Uh, Hold on to something heavy. uh, Sandy was pretty bad here. Sandy was probably the worst I've seen up here, because when we get up here to the northeast, the water temperatures just go down to tubes. So by the time they get to us, they're more extratropical and not tropical systems. But we can get ocean storms too. All right, so I'm going to go back to a couple more. Let's go here. I want to check the lightning strikes here. Sorry, my computer is super slow. This one. So you see these outer bands here. They're already starting to kind of plume into the southern part of Florida here. But I want to go to... So there isn't a lot of activity around the center yet. Most of it's off to the feeder bands here, but there's your center right there, pretty much. And you can see some outflow already happening here. Looks like it's getting a little bit of shear here to the north, but this is going to be, this is going to be a pretty good size storm too. It's not, it's not going to be a smaller. This storm here is probably going to take up half of Florida. So, and there's our other system that I've been watching too down here. Right in here, this system here is going to try to come up like this. Right in here, we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, I just wanted to come on and give an update on. Hey, Audrey, how you doing? Good to see everybody. In the chat, like I said, I'll be coming on later, I think, to do the true crime stuff. I'm going to go over Delphi a little bit, not too much. But I want to go over that case in Hawaii too, that just exonerated the 2 people that was sitting in prison for 25 years, and they had nothing to do with the crime. And then, of course, we're going to go over some of the other stuff. But if you live in Florida, especially on the western side, this is going to be a problem. If you live, I'd say Savannah, Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, which is absolutely, if you've ever been to Hilton Head, it's arguably one of the greatest places on the planet. And I'll keep an eye on it for everybody. But I'll be back a little later to go over the true crime. Hope to see everybody there. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Thank you, Heather, and thank you, Dean. Thank you, True Crime Web. If you don't know who True Crime Web is, Steve, then you're missing out. Steve is great. Sorry I missed you live, but I had to get this. I ordered parts for my other computer. They're still not here yet. I was hoping they'd be here by Saturday, but they're not. So I'm still on this crappy computer. So I'm taking it very careful with what I, do. I do too many things, it'll just quit on me. Um, so I want to thank every CJK. How are you? Yes, yes. Uh, yeah, this could be a problem for the East Coast too. They just haven't forecasted that far out yet, but I think it's just going to sit here uh, for a couple of days off of the Georgia coast here, and it's going to be a problem. Um, but I'll see you guys all later. Thank you all for coming in. Dean, you're awesome. Thank you for coming in. Audrey, you're awesome. Thank you. Honeybee is great. Curious Contrarian. Sorry I didn't get to answer all the questions, but like I said, I got this shitty computer here. Well, it's not shitty. It's just that for this stuff here, it's just not. Um, as good. But I'm going to get the hell out of here. I hope everybody has a good night. I'll be on, I don't know, probably around 12:30, 12:45-ish, the night owl shift. And we'll talk then. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys all later. Thank you. Thank you, Heather.